Let me read the front page headline, one of the front page headlines this morning. Miles Brady Davis was about 20 weeks pregnant when he learned that he would be listed as the mother on his baby's birth certificate. So I think now the newspaper science and all these other newfangled gadgets. Did you hear that? Let me read that for y'all one more again.
I'm Precious. This is my husband, Miles, and he's pregnant.
Popped, the masculine version of pregnant.
We're having a baby.
Cool.
That's so cool. Miles and I are a trans family. I identify as a trans woman, and Miles identifies as a trans man. Can I have those shoes? Oh, yeah. In some sense, it upsets me that I can't physically carry a child, but my husband can. I think Miles is handsome in this state, and he's glowing, and...
It's a very masculine glow, though. It's a very masculine glow.
So I'm glad to play vice versa.
Oh, I was gonna, this entire 9 months, the second we found out I was pregnant, I was like, oh, I'm about to live this up. When are we gonna have the conversation with our kid about us being trans?
No, from the time that she's born, we're gonna expose her to diversity and let her know that families come in all shapes and sizes. So by the time that she can understand that her parents are trans, it's something that she can be proud of.
This is on the front page of the Chicago Tribune today. I got to read this to you one more again. Miles Brady Davis was about 20 weeks pregnant when he learned that he would be listed as the mother of his baby's birth on his baby's birth certificate. Y'all. And so how does that work for our kids, Dr. Umar? When this is the front page of the newspaper, what chance does a black young man have?
Well, if he's not being raised by strong black men, and if he's not being raised by a black woman who values strong black men and fatherhood, then the chances of him surviving this attack on black masculinity are slim to none. And on top of that, I would also indict the entire black community for not building independent schools for our own children, because public and charter school is the #1 propaganda medium for this new effeminate culture that America is pushing on black males. It is all in the schools. It is all in the textbooks. And it doesn't matter whether or not your state Department of Education has approved LGBT studies or not. The teachers, many of whom are LGBT, are pushing it on their own, informally and formally. So it doesn't matter what the state has decided. They're going to do it anyway. So until we get our boys out of these schools and build our own schools, it's going to be difficult to protect them from the effeminacy. Barack Hussein Obama dealt a very serious political economic death blow to black folks. Many of us still don't even recognize what he did. When Barack Obama became president, black people were the priority minority in America. Nobody would dispute that. When Barack Hussein Obama took office, the #1 minority group in this country was black folks. So even though the country had never done nothing for us, you always had to speak to the black agenda. You always had to take a position, pro or con, the black agenda. Once Barack Obama took office, he then misappropriated the entire black agenda. Every ounce of black energy that was being used to make things better for us, Obama took it and rolled it over to the LGBTQs. A black president energized the LGBTQ and put them above black people in terms of priority.
Hey, man, have you been listening to the WVON morning show on the regular? Because, you know, I get in trouble for saying that right here in Chicago.
It's the truth. If you take the emotion out, which is difficult for black people to do, because in our community, Barack Obama is second only to Jesus Christ. So it's difficult to have a conversation about him without emotion. But when you take the emotion out and you ask yourself, what did he do for black folks? And then you compare that to what he did for homosexuals, you can't even compare the two. You can't even compare the two. Barack Obama gave homosexuals 3 federal laws. The last time black people got 3 federal laws was the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. You got to go back 150 years ago to find out the last time we got 3 federal laws. And we got those under different presidential administrations. Barack Obama gave 3 federal laws to LGBT, all in one presidential administration. He gave them a Supreme Court justice. He gave them over 500 federally appointed jobs. Barack Obama, everything he should have did for black folks, he did it for them, and it's our fault. Because while Obama was misappropriating the black agenda and using it to empower the LGBTQ agenda, we did not ask any questions. We didn't criticize him, and we didn't make any demands of him. Even now, while Michelle is running around making tens of millions of dollars off of her autobiography, sending none of that back to the neighborhoods that her and her husband avoided during his entire presidential administration. Even while they're doing that, black people are still holding them up as heroes. Heroes who did nothing for black people. So we have to blame ourselves, though, because we are complicit in that because we empowered him to do it, to steal our agenda and give it to them. And we also refuse to hold him accountable for what he did.
And I got to stop you right there, Doc. I got to stop you right there. Because you know what Doc Barack really gave us was right here. When Dylan Roof walked into that black church and murdered all those black people, he got on stage and sang a Negro spiritual.
He sung a Negro spiritual.
A Negro spiritual to make sure the white folks was comfortable that white supremacy would live. Hey, Todd, on the live line, we have Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm honored that we got him. This is the first time we've had him on the morning show. Todd, you're going to have to make that happen again. Shout out to Todd, White Todd, the producer, for making this happen because this has been a great show. Hey, Dr. Umar, we appreciate you being with us, but we got a bank full of phone calls. You mind talking to some of these people?
Sure.
All right, awesome. All right, let's start with Patrick. Patrick, you're on the Talk Chicago 1690. You are talking to Dr. Umar Johnson.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The only problem I got, I believe a lot of what the doctor's saying is true, but then again, a lot of it is just common sense. But what I don't like about what he said is growing up and dreaming that you and believing that you can be all you can be in America is propaganda. I don't like that. Because in order for you to be a doctor, you had to grow up and believe you could be that. But according to you, that's propaganda. You know, I don't think we should feed that to our young people.
Okay. Dr. Umar, you got a response to that?
Yes. I think that I'm a pretty articulate guy. I really do. But one of the things I always struggled with as a scholar is people who attribute comments and opinions and ideas to me that I had never articulated. Did I ever once say we should steal our children's dreams? Did I ever once say there's anything wrong with black children striving to achieve and become what they have set out to become? I never said that. We're talking about a war against black masculinity that needs to be confronted and done away with so that our children can become all they can be. I never said that there was a problem with any black child wanting to grow up and become whatever they wanted to become.
Hey, Doc, I'm going to stop that right now because you know what? You didn't say that. And here's my point. We got people who want to talk. So let's not spend too much time on that one. Let's go to Bernard. Bernard, you want to talk Chicago 1690? You got Dr. Umar Johnson on the line.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. Good morning, Dr. Johnson.
Good morning.
What you're describing is well documented in history through the Black Codes, the 1691 Casual Killing Act, the Devil's Punch Bowl, Natchez, Mississippi, through the 1919 riot in Chicago. After that was published, the Negro in Chicago. Everything was spelled out in there, what the Negro was worth, 0 in this country, up into the Kerner Report, 1968, and on and on. So keep telling the truth.
Now, Bernard, you said something about, tell me real quick about this Benton Harbor story. Do it quick.
Oh, Benton Harbor, they said that they killed a young man, castrated him, threw it in the river over there. The police investigated, said there was no foul play.
When was this? Recently?
That was about 4 or 5 years ago in Benton Harbor, the St. Joseph River.
Oh, yeah.
The young man was, right, you're familiar with that.
I am familiar with that. And it goes
was lynched, castrated, and thrown in the river, and they said there was no foul play.
You know what? And that goes to Dr. Johnson's point about the castration of black men. Because, Dr. Johnson, what does the castration of black men symbolize in these lynchings? One more time for the people.
It's symbolizing the white man's insecurity and his hatred for the fact that the black man is the only male on the planet who has 100% reproductive privilege over all other males. And what that means is whether I cohabitate with a Chinese woman, a European Jew, an Anglo-Saxon, an Arab, an East Indian, a Native American, a Mexican, a Latino, it doesn't matter who I cohabitate with, that cohabitation will produce a black child. The black man is the only man in the world who produces himself with any woman he touches. And that is a very, very insecure space for white males because they cannot reproduce themselves in any other woman except his own white woman.
So, Doc,
and that is why lynching and castration were so popular in America.
I gotta dispute you. As much as I appreciate what you just said, I gotta dispute you. Let me read the front page headline, one of the front page headlines this morning. Miles Brady Davis was about 20 weeks pregnant when he learned that he would be listed as the mother on his baby's birth certificate. So I think now the newspaper science and all these other newfangled gadgets. Did you hear that? Let me read that for y'all one more again. This is on the front page of the Chicago Tribune today. I got to read this to you one more again. Miles Brady Davis was about 20 weeks pregnant when he learned that he would be listed as the mother of his baby's birth on his baby's birth certificate. Y'all. And so how does that work for our kids, Dr. Umar? When this is the front page of the newspaper, what chance does a black young man have?
Well, if he's not being raised by strong black men, and if he's not being raised by a black woman who values strong black men and fatherhood, then the chances of him surviving this attack on black masculinity are slim to none. And on top of that, I would also indict the entire black community for not building independent schools for our own children, because public and charter school is the number one propaganda medium for this new effeminate culture that America is pushing on black males. It is all in the schools. It is all in the textbooks. And it doesn't matter whether or not your state Department of Education has approved LGBT studies or not. The teachers, many of whom are LGBT, are pushing it on their own, informally and formally. So it doesn't matter what the state has decided. They're going to do it anyway. So until we get our boys out of these schools and build our own schools, it's going to be difficult to protect them from the effeminati.
Doc, we got to have you back. Do me a favor. Tell everybody how they can find out more information, follow you, your website.
Yes, make them. They want to make every white hero look like a saint. None of them were saints. None of them were saints. Washington used to get the teeth pulled out of the mouths of his slaves whenever his would fall out, and you ain't had no dentistry back then. He would get the teeth yanked out and put it in his mouth. Most of his teeth were the teeth of his slaves.